because if you don't, then you won't be consistent. You won't be consistent with your workouts or your nutrition. Hey guys, Mark McKillier with Live Anabolic, and today I want to talk about the 5 most typical mistakes as older guys make when working out. And believe it or not, 4 of the 5 are actually made by young guys too. So maybe that makes you feel a little better. Now, I would think guys would be asking me about these kind of things on a regular basis, but unfortunately not. I mean, I should be asked more often, what are the big mistakes everybody's making? But I don't. So I'm just going to give you my opinion anyway. All right, so number 1 is the only one of the 5 that doesn't affect the younger guys. It really pretty much just affects us older guys. And that mistake is, guys, you gotta go to your doctor and get just a general physical health assessment. You know, if you haven't been exercising or working out in a long, long time, you need to get just a basic checkup. You know, how is your heart? How's your blood pressure? You know, what's going on there? And then while you're getting, all those kind of things done, your cholesterol level, et cetera, ask your doctor to get a testosterone level test. It's super simple. They just take a tiny bit of blood, boom, and it's inexpensive. So while you're there getting everything else done, they're going to be taking blood samples for everything else anyway. Ask your doc for a testosterone level test, because if your T levels are abnormally low, it's going to be really hard to see any gains. And I'm not just talking about gains in muscle mass. I'm also talking about fat loss, all right? Because your testosterone affects both of those. If you have low T levels, it's going to be much, much harder to drop that body fat. And of course, pretty much everybody knows if you have low T levels, it makes it much harder to build muscle. So guys, while you're there, get the T levels checked. And then on top of that, if they're low, or even if they're kind of in the mid to low normal range, and I would recommend trying some supplements. It doesn't work for everybody, but we have a couple of really good testosterone boosters. It's called Anabolic Reload and Anabolic Reload PM. This is the one you take right before you go to bed. Both of these things have a bunch of ingredients. I would recommend just click the link below this video, because that'll take you to our website, and it lists all the ingredients and what each ingredient does. And the only reason we put these ingredients in here in the first place is because they're backed up by scientific studies. All right, so check it out. The really good thing about trying our supplements as opposed to everybody else's is our warranty, our guarantee. We're the only people in the industry that will give you a total refund. If it doesn't work for you, all you got to do is send us an email. This stuff, all it does is help your body ramp up its own natural production of testosterone. And if you can get those T levels up near the high end of the normal range, then you're going to be way, way more successful in building muscle and losing fat. The second big mistake guys make is not emphasizing nutrition enough, or at all for that matter. Nutrition is critical. And once again, it's not just for losing fat, it's also for building muscle. You have to be getting enough protein in your daily diet. Otherwise, no matter how hard you work out, you're just not going to see the muscle growth without the proper nutrition. And guys, the nutrition is harder than the exercising. And the reason is because you have to worry about your nutrition all day long. From the time you wake up in the morning till the time you go to bed at night, you have to always worry about what you're eating. All right? Your workouts might last 30, 45 minutes and you're done. You don't have to deal with it for the rest of the day. All right? But the nutrition is all day long, 7 days a week. It never leaves you, but it is absolutely critical. And fantastic physiques, are built in the kitchen. The shorter version of that is abs are made in the kitchen. All right, so the third one, guys, is not spending enough time on your back and your core. So I think the problem is guys typically like to work on muscle groups they can see in the mirror, and you can't see your back. all right? So they just don't spend enough time on it. So your back is really, it's a huge muscle group. I think there's 17 distinct muscle groups in your back, all right? So you got to do a lot of different exercises to get all those muscle groups. But, you know, as you can imagine, especially as we get older, you know, your back just tends to get weak. I mean, think how many guys hurt their back. And that's partly because they're not working the back muscles, and also partly because they're not working their core. You know, your abs and all the stabilizer muscles around your ribs and in your lower back are what keep you from injuring your disc, your vertebrae, in your lower back, all right? And they just tend to get weak with age. We just don't use them. When you're younger, you know, you're moving around a lot, you're playing sports, and you're indirectly working your core. Well, we're old, we're sitting in front of the TV, we're sitting in front of the computer, all right? And those muscles get really weak. So guys, don't neglect your back and your core, and I know it's easier said than done. All right, number 4 is having unrealistic expectations. So many guys, and remember this applies to younger guys too. Remember, only number 1 applied to us older guys. The next 4 apply to the young guys and the old guys, and that is you get depressed when you don't see progress fast enough. And that can be progress related to fat loss or muscle growth. It goes both ways. So you have to have realistic expectations, because if you don't, then you won't be consistent. You won't be consistent with your workouts or your nutrition. And then guys tend to do this, all right? And then, once consistency goes out the door, then of course, you're never gonna see, the results you're looking for. All right, so the 5th and final one is poor form and ego lifting. Now, ego lifting typically affects the younger guys more. They want to lift a lot and impress the other people in the gym, the girls and the guys. Us older guys typically don't have that problem, but we do have the poor form problem. And I'm blown away by this, but I see several guys at my gym I go to, and they're my age or older, with horrendous form. And I can't go over and correct them. I can't say anything to this 65, 75-year-old guy over there. But poor form and ego lifting are really big mistakes that so many guys make. And then combine that with low intensity workouts, and low volume. You don't do enough sets, you don't go often enough, man, you just won't see any progress if you don't take number 5 more seriously. All right, guys, that's just real quick, high-level overview of the mistakes I think most guys are making, especially us older guys, and they're really not that complicated. If you just kind of spend a little bit of time on a daily basis, you'll really see huge results, but only if you stick with it and never give up on yourself.